Now, the nationwide ceasefire in Syria has been disrupted again after regime forces carried out an attack from a helicopter gunship. The attacks took place in a rebel-held Barada Valley northwest of Damascus. The ceasefire came into effect late Thursday, but in Hama province, at least 6 regime fighters were killed. Russia and Turkey finalized the terms of the deal on Wednesday and say they will act as guarantors of the truce. For more, let's cross live now to Alican Ayanlar in Idlib province in Syria. Hi, Alican. First, help us better understand how serious these ceasefire violations actually are. Are they being committed by the signatories, or do they fall under the terrorist groups who were excluded?
Well, it's a very complicated issue, but let's try to explain it. Andrea, well, soon after the country's most comprehensive ceasefire deal came into effect here in Syria at midnight, there were reports of minor infractions. And what I mean by minor infractions is like isolated gunfire incidents, especially near the provincial border between Hama and Idlib. But earlier on Friday, the UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights did report that regime warplanes conducted strikes on targets in the rebel-controlled valley, strategic valley of Barada, which is about 20 kilometers outside of the capital, Damascus. Now, one would ask, is this a violation of the ceasefire deal? Well, it depends on how you look at it, because on the one hand, you have a presence of Jabhat Fatah al-Sham, the group formerly known as al-Nusra, and they have a presence in Barada Valley. They're one of the groups that have been excluded from this ceasefire deal. But on the other hand, in very close proximity within this valley, you have a group called Ahrar al-Sham, which is part of this ceasefire deal. So it's a very complicated situation. But the fact that Jabhat Fatah al-Sham has been left out of this agreement could cause some problems further down the road. Technically, strikes against them could continue, and this does pose some problems, because not only are they one of the larger rebel groups here in this country, especially here in Idlib province, but they fought alongside the other rebel groups that are part of this agreement for such a long time against the Assad regime. But what makes this ceasefire deal different from all the rest in the past is that there are mechanisms in place to monitor infractions, monitor these violations, and to make sure, and if there are infractions, to take measures immediately to stop them. So we're going to have to wait and see if these measures do take place and if they are helpful.
And Alican, we're also hearing that Russia and Turkey are actually building on their guarantor status in this process. Tell us exactly what that means.
Well, we heard from the Russian Defense Ministry that they would be scaling down their military presence after this ceasefire deal was announced. But now, like you said, we're seeing the two sides that have brokered this ceasefire deal, Turkey and Russia, build on their relationship. For the first time, we're seeing Russian military warplanes join in on Operation Euphrates Shield. This is an operation that's been going on for about 130 days. Turkey is backing Free Syrian Army troops in northern Syria. And in the latest operation, these Russian jets have conducted airstrikes against Daesh targets in and around the town of Al-Bab, which has seen some of the fiercest fighting since this operation began. And this Russian intervention sort of comes at a very interesting time, because just about 24 hours ago, we all heard the Turkey's foreign minister, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, criticize their NATO ally, the United States, for not doing enough in terms of helping them with Operation Euphrates Shield. So an interesting intervention by the Russians.
Okay. Alican, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks so much for that, as always, from Idlib.